Drop is out in theaters, new thriller from director Christopher Landon, who previously made Happy Death Day 1 and 2 and Freaky, none of which I've seen, but I believe they were all received fairly positively. This stars Megan Fahey, who plays Violet, a widowed single mother who was a victim of abuse in the past. Now she helps others as a therapist. She goes on a date, the first date in a very, very, very long time since the death of her husband, with a guy she met on an app. They go to this fancy high-rise restaurant, and suddenly Violet starts receiving these weird airdrops of some creepy memes and images clearly targeting her and suggesting that someone is stalking and watching her. Eventually, it turns out that someone is, and someone has taken her son and sister hostage back at home and is now blackmailing Violet to destroy an SD card containing some compromising material that her date has in his camera, and then to poison him. Violet has to, of course, pretend that nothing out of the ordinary is happening, all the while she tries to somehow navigate and escape this situation. So it's a film that for about 80% of its runtime is fairly solid at building up tension and creating an atmosphere of paranoia and suspicion. It's kind of creepy, kind of awkward to watch Violet effectively create these situations that to her date and the people around her look absolutely nuts, as if she's going out of her mind and trying to then reasonably explain them. It is quite thrilling, but then at the climax, the movie falls off the rails unbelievably hard. It effectively throws every bit of credit it earned with me before within about 2 minutes of runtime and becomes abysmally stupid, crazy, balls to the wall, unrealistic. For some reason, it also decides that it needs a final act that is just non-stop action pumping on all cylinders, and it just doesn't work. And there are movies out there where even though it's the ending fails, somehow the film is still good because it's in a movie it can be more about the journey than the destination. But with this film, that's not the case, and I think the ending effectively ruins the entire film. I will say the performances are fine, and I also want to make an observation about the lighting. The first 2 or 3 times the movie used an effect where they dim most of the lights and focus on the remaining ones the remaining ones on some character or some element of the scene. I thought, okay, well that's a clever, effective way to visually draw my attention to something. But then the film kept on overusing this to the point that it felt more like a movie made by someone who has just discovered for the first time that they can manipulate light this way, and they can't get enough of this. All in all, a promising film that ends up failing, sort of falling miserably on its face, and I can't recommend seeing it.